Our program is called Reslope Global, and we plan to reslope semi-arid land and to convert it into arable land. This is a graph that shows us increased between 1960 to today to 2020 by a factor of 2.63. At the same time, arable land was dwindling to 44% of the arable land in 1960 due to contamination, erosion, and desertification. That would mean that today a unit of land should produce 2.63 divided by 0.44, which is 6 times, unit of land today should produce 6 times more that on average, that a unit of land in 1960. And this is difficult to achieve. There is a limit to what plant genetics and biotechnology can do. You cannot use more fertilizer per unit area. You cannot use more water per unit area. You cannot use more machinery per unit area. Something should be done in order to develop or to increase production of food. In addition, the middle class in developing countries is increasing, is developing further, and people want quality food. They want protein, they want beef. And you take about 10 to 20 kilograms of fodder, grass, to produce 1 kilogram of, say, beef steak. And that would require additional arable land. So where to find this arable land? The way to do is to go and to produce or to convert semi-arid land into arable land. 15% of the world arable land is semi-arid. Semi-arid is very good for agriculture because there is a lot of sun, but there is not much water. So, for example, in California, is provided by meltwater from the Rocky Mountains and from the Sierra Mountains. So there is terrific agriculture. Most of the produce, the green salad that we eat is produced in California and Texas. And as I said before, the meltwater is provided from the Rockies and the Sierra Mountains. So semi-arid is not as harsh as arid. There is substantial rainfall, but all of this rain is immediately evaporate and due to evaporation from the soil and transpiration from the plant. To give you an example, the rainfall in Austin, Texas is 35, the annual rainfall is 35 inch, while in London, England is 26 inch, much less, but London is green and lush, but Austin, Texas is semi-arid. So slight difference in latitude and solar irradiation can produce such a dramatic difference in vegetation and biomass. But there are places in semi-arid land that you will see some vegetation. So if you see a hill with a slope to the north and slope to the south, the slope to the north is green and lush, while the slope to the south is bone dry. And here is some example. If you travel in places like California or Texas, and you see a hill with a slope to the north and a slope to the south. The slope to the north is green and lush. The slope to the south is bone dry. And what we would like to do is to imitate of what happened on natural slope in semi-arid land, and to imitate and to cultivate on the changed or the altered terrain that we are going to construct. This is an example. I visited Texas, San Angelo in Texas, 5 years ago. And I saw some public work. And 2 weeks later, I came again, and I saw that on the northern slope here, grass appeared spontaneously in just 2 weeks. So this is an example, show you the virtue of northern slope. So what we want to do is to change the terrain of semi-arid land, as you can see here, by earth moving. And then we would be able to cultivate on the northern slope. Could be wheat, could be sorghum, could be anything. I'm interested especially in commodity, meaning wheat, barley, and things of that kind. In Africa, we want to start in Africa and to develop pilot in Africa. In Africa, there is interesting possibility between 23 north and 23 south. There, the sun shines in one season from the south, another season from the north. So in those places, we would be able to cultivate at one season on this slope, another season on that slope. Depending, of course, on the pattern of weather, if there is rain in this season or that season in that location. Our group of scientists, we have a group of scientists in several countries, in Tanzania, in Kenya, in Italy, in Brazil, and India, United States. And we have engineers from Denmark and from the Netherlands who help us with robotic technology to create the slope. So as I said before, 15% of the world's surface area is semi-arid, more than twice of the entire area of the United States. In harsh desert, not semi-arid, arid area, we would be able to change the terrain to enhance grazing in those areas. Yes, there are environmental impact for changing the terrain and cultivation on the new arable slope, but all agriculture create environmental impact. Some people say, oh, you're going to create an environmental impact in Tanzania. What is the alternative? To produce more food in Nebraska and to export it to Tanzania. This would create environmental impact in Nebraska. So the world needs more food, and it seemed that this is the way to go, or one way to go. In addition, local food production would create jobs, would save of transportation of import food, and would revitalize the economies in those countries. The creation of the slope is very fast, as you can see, by motor grader, and very inexpensive. Such equipment are available practically everywhere. There is an interesting possibility that the new arable land needs carbon, and the semi-arid land can absorb carbon, and we have a technology to do this. On one hand, rock dust can absorb carbon, it's well known. And on the other hand, biochar, which is used, biomass, is used to sequester carbon. And we have a combination of technology of biochar and rock dust, where the waste of one process is used as a productive input to another process, which is an example of what is called industrial ecology or circular economy, to do that. There is interesting for the long-term possibility to use this concept in places like Scandinavia or Canada. There is an interplay between water and sun. In Texas, there is a lot of sun, but not much water. In Canada and Scandinavia, there is enough water, but not much sun. So in those places, we can perhaps cultivate on the southern slope. The southern slope is illuminated. The solar intensity here is 6 times, could reach 6 times more than the solar intensity on the northern slope. So this would enable, potentially, to grow things in Scandinavia or Canada. I think that right now they're importing from Morocco or Texas. In addition, there is another interesting possibility for the long term, and this is to harvest solar power on the southern slope. As I said before, the intensity here is very high, could be 6 times higher than the intensity, the solar intensity than on the northern slope. The question is what to do with this solar power. How are you going to transmit it to the grid? And most likely those places would be in remote location. So in the 19th century, there was an active research topic which is called electroculture. And in it, electric current, which is flown near the roots of plant, enhance growth of the plants. Right now, you can find in the internet, some people use it in some gardening or greenhouses, but nobody uses it on a large scale. In this case, we can transmit the power underground from here to the plant here, which is very short, just few feet. And this would be, as I said before, interesting agronomic possibility for R&D for the long term. So, as I said before, this has the possibility to produce job, local job, and to feed millions of people around the world. Right now, the world food system is highly integrated. For example, in 2008, there was a drought in Russia, which caused food prices worldwide to go up. And this caused, directly or indirectly, the Arab Spring in 2008. This was one of the causes. So if in one country, developing or developed countries, there is a food crisis, it affects immediately the world food system. So this is basically what we plan to do. This could address, for example, the recent food crisis due to the Russian-Ukraine war. And to summarize, extraordinary problem require extraordinary solution. This could be viewed as a water project because basically we produce or we save water. What is the alternative? You need to buy water somewhere, and then you need to pump the water. You need energy to pump the water, and then you need to pipe it, and then to spread it in the field. Here, you get the water exactly when it's needed. Another point that this could be viewed for the long term as some kind of real estate project. Some company can buy cheap semi-arid land on behalf of investor, upgrade the land by this concept, and then this company would share some of the appreciation of the new land. So there is many possibilities in the future, and but hopefully we will succeed right now in executing the first step, which is developing 2 pilots, one in Kenya and one in Italy.